Hello everyone, welcome to episode 12 of Top Chat. My name is Matt and with me, as always, is Joe.
I forgot what I say here.
Alright mate.
Oh yeah.
In a weird voice.
Alright mate!
No, not in that weird of a voice, but in a weird voice.
Okay.
Do you want me to do an impression of it?
Yeah.
It's like, alright mate.
Alright mate. I've lost it.
You've lost it. You're going to have to listen back to earlier episodes. And maybe you should too, those of you listening right now.
Yes.
Just don't listen to episodes like 7, 8 and 9 because, well no, it's more like 6. I actually just don't do it.
There's a few in there which they got a bit of dodgy sound. The content was actually quite good in those episodes.
Not bad. The first 4 are decent and then just kind of skip to now, I guess. Just don't listen back to them.
Yeah. But what is Top Chat, Matt?
Top Chat is a gaming podcast.
Yes.
A weekly thanks for getting us back on track. A weekly gaming podcast featuring us two men who live in London and talk about games because we like them.
Yes.
And occasionally we upload videos to YouTube as well where we talk about specific games or specific topics within the gaming world. So for example, I've got one that I've been sat on for about 2 weeks now where I talk about microtransactions. And have I uploaded it? Have I fuck? But it's ready.
Is it? You just need me to do your thumbnail.
I just need you to do me a thumbnail. I need to actually upload it.
Yeah, let's do that. So I've started writing my... they're called Topinions, by the way.
Oh yeah, they are. Yeah, should have said that.
Started writing my next one after a 2-week or so break.
We've done 3 each so far, haven't we?
Yes. They take quite a lot of effort. Well, and considering we're both
yours do.
Mine do, yeah.
I don't put much effort into mine at all. My content's good, but I don't really. You're very much a meticulous plan, and you like to do your edit thing, don't you, with your subtitles and your headings and your puns.
You know, I care about things. I'm on this earth to create, and you're just here
to you?
fuck around.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But anyway, this week's podcast is going to be slightly shorter than normal. We also don't have a main topic per se because I have to be up fairly early in the morning because I have a job interview tomorrow.
Do you?
Yeah, I didn't tell you that. Yeah, well, I plan to drop it right now because it would lead to some top chat. But not about games, because we take a while before we actually get into it, really, don't we?
Yes.
It's nothing too exciting, it's just an operations job within retail head office.
Or at your current company?
No, not at my current company, at a different one. So I'm going to that. I don't really know if I want the job. I don't know what it is, but it would be a Monday to Friday, sat at a desk, playing on a computer. I mean, not playing, maybe a little bit, but yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, would be interesting. So I've got to be up early for that. So this podcast's going to be a little bit shorter. So if you are, thank you. If you are a regular listener, apologies. If you're not, then this isn't the norm, but it doesn't really matter anyway.
It'll still be as entertaining as always.
I'm sure it will. And actually, you've chosen a good week to start because in our first segment, which we'll be discussing in about 10 seconds' time, I have something new to talk about.
Wow.
And that segment is, mate, what you been playing this week?
Well, do you know what I've been playing this week? Absolutely fuck all for the first time.
A bit of role reversal.
Yeah, well, I've had quite a lot of time off, but I've spent that time binge watching Game of Thrones.
I thought you were going to say binge drinking because...
Well, that's a bit true.
That's also true, yeah.
Yes, fucking... Not even going to go into that. But
how much is your fine?
My fine is £70.
£70.
So,
and what's that fine
completely
for?
Unrelated, by the way. In life, I'd recommend not throwing up in an Uber, being too drunk. It's just a general bit of life advice. Just from a friend.
From a friend, from what I've heard. Don't throw up in Ubers.
From experience.
Because they charge you £70.
Yeah. Anyway, binge watching Game of Thrones.
Never seen it.
Because the new season is out in like 2 weeks, and I wanted to catch up.
Good idea.
Also, because I'm cheap as fuck, I won a Now TV subscription in Monopoly McDonald's thing for 3 months, so I could watch it not illegally for the first time.
I always get hooked to McDonald's Monopoly, and I've never won. Every year I get completely sucked in, but this year I've not.
I don't get sucked in, but I just was like, fuck it, I've got like the codes, the online codes, and you never seem to win anything off it, and then it was like, oh, you've won Now TV, and I was like, cool, I guess. And then I saw Game of Thrones was on it, and I was like, nicely timed. Well done, McNopoly.
McNopoly. That's quite good. They should have called it that.
They should have. This is why I'm like, should be a marketing person.
Yes, a person who does slogans and other things. Well, actually, you are very good at doing graphic design, so if you're in need of a graphic designer, you can find us at Top Chat Podcast on Twitter.
Also, I'm not good at graphic design. I can sort of make things look okay, nice, but I do them in the complete wrong way.
It doesn't matter as long as
if someone else came in to edit my things, they'd be like, "What is going on here?"
But why would they need to?
Well, I don't know.
It's your project, isn't it? Well, yeah, you can get in touch at topchatpodcast@gmail.com. So you haven't been playing anything?
I've been playing Mass Effect 2, but that's it.
Okay. Well, the day we've all been waiting for, I finally finished the other night, and I got the Platinum Trophy, FYI, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. My Odyssey
Was it good then?
Done. It was alright.
Okay. Anyway.
Nah, have you ever seen that? There's a really... Well, not really famous, but there's a picture that did the rounds on the internet of like a Steam review from a guy who'd got like 7,000 hours in a game, and his review was, "It's not bad." Like, okay, well, it's clearly better than that. But I'll do a quick review. So I haven't yet, because I actually haven't finished it, in all honesty. I've still got the Legacy of the Blade DLC.
You finished the main
I finished the game, and I finished... I think all of the Secrets of Greece, which are like bonus missions which have been dropped by Ubisoft so far. I finished all of them. And yeah, finished the main quest, finished all the points of interest and blah, blah, blah. All of that. Got the Platinum Trophy. It's the best Assassin's Creed game so far. I don't think it's my favourite. I still think Black Flag is slightly better. But maybe because it's more of an Assassin's game to me. But that's for another day. That's for a Topinion, perhaps. In fact, it is for a Topinion because I've written it. So I just haven't recorded it or done anything about it. But yeah, it's a great game. I loved 75% of my time playing it because I will be honest, it gets repetitive. There's only so many times you raid a band. I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but there's only so many times you can raid a bandit camp and still find it exhilarating. The end of the game as well, like the closing cutscenes are so unbelievably glitchy. It's annoying. Like there's a bit because I played a Cassandra, and I don't want to spoil it because I know Seb listens and I don't know if he's finished it or not. But basically, there's a cutscene where she puts her spear that she's had the whole game. She puts it on her back, and she does this hundreds of times. She does it while you're playing the game. Like if you get in an encounter, she pulls the spear out, and then as soon as you're done, she puts it back. And it never glitches out, but in literally the very last or like second to last cutscene of the game, the whole thing is like floating off of her back, like a good few inches away, and it's just I don't know, it really breaks the fourth wall. And the
Unity PTSD or whichever the French one
I couldn't
was.
Unity. I couldn't finish even like DNA sequence 2 of Unity because it was so buggy. But DNA sequences don't do that anymore, do they? Because they're not really Assassin's Creed. In my opinion. But anyway, that's for another day. And then like all the way through the game, the modelling of like facial animation and speech is pretty good. Like I still think gaming on the whole is quite a way to go to match films. But I suppose films are like 1/10 of the length of most normal games. So it's kind of forgivable, but also it's not bad throughout all of Odyssey. And then again, in the last few cutscenes, it's fucking terrible. It's like their mouths are 10 seconds behind the speech, and like their eyes bug out, and just the backgrounds sort of like drop in and out. The textures like lag or they don't load or whatever. And it's a real shame that the last half an hour is just not very good, and the actual story closure is. I mean, there's no closure because it's not really what you're looking for. Like, the story arc isn't to close, if you like, but I don't know, it's not the most satisfying ending, especially off the back of Origins, which is a brilliant, brilliant story. I think Origins' story is better than Odyssey. And yeah, it's padded. It's so padded.
What does that mean?
Just unnecessary stuff. Like, too many bandit camps, too many, like, forts, and just, you rinse and repeat just gets annoying. And it's like, and the map is huge, but there's so much of it is water. I don't know, because I loved it and I really loved playing it, but I wouldn't play it again. 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10?
8 out of 10, yeah. 8.5.
Interesting.
I'm feeling a strong 8.
Okay.
That's Anthony Fantano reference right there.
Okay.
Strong 8 on that one, yeah. I liked it a lot. I think, on reflection, I preferred Origins.
Okay.
Yeah. But Odyssey is better. I thought, well, no, is it? Because they're so... I don't know. Yeah, it's a good game. If you like Assassin's Creed, you'll like that. If you like games of that ilk.
If you like open world games.
If you like open world games. If you like The Witcher.
I think it's about it's 20 odd quid now on the store. So
yeah, it's dirt cheap.
For the amount of money to hours ratio, it seems pretty good. I've actually made a couple of purchases today.
Have you?
I have. Got the spring sale on the UK PSN store.
Oh.
And I picked up Horizon Zero Dawn Frozen Wilds DLC.
Okay, nice.
It's like £5. So I'm going to go back and play some Horizon Zero Dawn.
Jolly good.
Indeed. Very good game. Very good game. Batman Arkham
Knight Asylum?
Arkham Knight, the third of the Arkham games. The one I haven't played yet. I've got for like a tenner. So I'm finally going to finish that trilogy.
You're making your pile even bigger.
I am indeed, but I've been getting through my piles.
Have you?
Since I've started this podcast, I've been...
You have, actually. Your pile...
Applying the proverbial cream to my piles. And
the sweaty cream.
Yes, indeed. And I picked up Abzu as well, which is sort of
that's
like
the Journey underwater, isn't it?
Essentially, yeah.
Sorry, the game that's similar to Journey but set underwater.
Yes, it's about 2 hours long, which is nice. And about
2 hours?
Yeah, that's about
really?
£3. So
Journey's like 45 minutes.
Well, yeah, they're not the same game exactly, but it's that
same
kind of. It's not, is it?
It's that game company, isn't it?
I don't think that game company did Abzu.
Okay, well, it's time for our trip to Wikipedia, as we always make. I wasn't finished talking about games that I've been playing, to be honest.
Were you not?
Well,
it's
know.
Normally just Assassin's Creed 1? Oh,
it is, you know, because you made quite a funny pun name for it. So I've been playing The Witness, because it's
the
on...
shitness.
Yeah, that was the pun. Because it was the free game for March/early April, whatever it is, on PSN. So I downloaded it, and I've played probably about an hour and a half. Got a trophy because you have to turn on beacons, don't you? Sorry, go on. Did they make Abzu?
They did not.
They did not. Who made Abzu? Can you find that out for us?
Well.
Yeah, you have to turn on beacons, don't you? And then they light up a Giant Squid Studios, never heard of them. And then they light up a lighthouse, don't they? Or something like that. Basically, these beacons all light up something in the middle, and the objective is to turn on all the beacons by completing the puzzles within their corresponding areas.
I've done one.
Yeah, we've done the same one. It's called Symmetry, because I looked. I basically put an hour and a half into it before I hit a wall of being like, I'm not sure where to go. I can't. Yeah. Like, I hit a few puzzles where I couldn't. I haven't got as far as you did, because I know you got to like the swampy kind of area, and I've not got that far. I basically I did the Symmetry Island because I feel like the game guides you to go there first, and then there were some trees with like a red balloon in it, and I had to work out which tree had which balloon and then put it into the weird computer thing. Did all of that, and then nothing happened, so I was like, okay. Found a windmill, again nothing really happened. Then there was like an empty village. Couldn't work out any of the puzzles in any of the houses. And then I just thought, fuck it. It was kind of late by that point. It was like 11:30. So I went on YouTube and just watched a Let's Play because I quite enjoyed the game world. Sorry, not a Let's Play, because I can't stand people. Even though there's maybe plans of us doing them one day, I really can't stand people being like, hey guys, welcome back to The Witness episode 3. On this point,
well, you just want like someone without commentary. Sort of
yeah, or just someone who's a bit more relaxed and then just be like, oh, so now I'm going to go over to this area. And can we do this puzzle? Let's see if we can work this one out. Oh, yeah, there we go. So I think the way you do this, not someone who's just like some bang that like button, smash like. Speaking of YouTube, though, F's in chat. PewDiePie's been overtaken.
Was he?
It looks like he's, yeah.
Shame.
T-Series, they're like, I think they're 50-odd thousand ahead of him now, so that's pretty much game over.
Don't care.
And he had a song, like, ready, like, already recorded and a music video made, because he's on Brighton Pavilion, just dressed appallingly.
Oh. Doing
a quite funny, but ultimately terrible song. But
I might be going to Brighton tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah.
Love a bit of Brighton.
Yeah.
Go and find him.
Shite him. It's not shite, though.
It's not shite. It's
quite right.
It's quite right.
No, I said quite bright.
Quite bright. Bright on.
Yeah.
Bright on, brother. That was a weird sort of
The Witness,
Hulk Hogan.
anyway.
Oh, yeah, The Witness. It's all right. I don't know if I've got the patience for it, because I've got a real issue with games that just plonk you into an area and there's like, just fucking go and do it.
Yeah.
I need a bit of context. The symmetry one was sort of easy to work out because it was very basic, like, oh, you do this and this happens, and the learning curve of that was quite steep, but it was gradual. Whereas everywhere else I've been, it's been like, lol, you can't work this out.
Yeah,
get fucked.
That was my problem. Like, I worked out one of them, like probably the easy one, the one that we've both done, and then I went around the entire world doing as many of the puzzles as I could, but I could never get to that last one of like.
I can't get past the first.
As in, like, I can never get to like that. There'll be like 4 puzzles in a row, and they'll increasingly, like, they'll introduce you to a new element of the puzzles. They'll get increasingly difficult, and then the last one does something in the world, like opens up a new door or something. I always get to that end one. I just couldn't do it. There was one puzzle I was stuck on for about a year. I went back to it every now and then, and I did it, and then I was stuck on the next puzzle straight after, and I was like, I can't be bothered anymore.
Yeah.
And then every time I went to look up like the witness cheats and stuff, there was like I think it was an article from the developer who was like, please don't look up answers, like you'll have such a better time if you like learn this game yourself, and it will feel so satisfying. And then I was like, oh, you're right, Mr. Developer, it will. And then I did the puzzle, and I was like,
Jonathan Blow, isn't it?
I don't know, but I've never raged more at a game that is so supposed to be so peaceful. So I'm done with The Witness, as I've said before.
I kind of get, like, yeah, it's Jonathan Blow. I kind of get what he's saying about that, because I mean, I feel like the whole point of it is, yes, it's the satisfaction of, oh, I finally worked it out. But when you spend like 15 to 20 minutes, I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but for those that don't know, The Witness is a puzzle game where basically all the puzzles are the same, because it's like guide a ball from one corner of a maze to another.
Yeah, that's like the annoying thing. I don't like the. There's
variations on each like area, isn't it? So the one that we've both completed is called Symmetry, because you control one side of the maze, and there's also an identical ball coming from the other side of the maze, which mirrors your movements. And then you complete the puzzle, and then that part's called Symmetry. And then you move on to another area, and it's like, well, now what? I've got to unlearn the symmetry stuff and learn whatever this is. But because there's no, like I was saying a minute ago, the skill curve on the symmetry stuff is quite gradual. But everywhere else I've been, it's just been like, no, there isn't one. Because
it seems
I just don't know what I'm doing.
There seems to be like the direct path, like the line of best fit.
Well, I don't think there is.
It seems to be like there is a certain order to do them in, but they don't show you. So like you maybe end up skipping to a different puzzle, and then you've thrown in more of the deep end of another aspect, and then you come back and you're like, oh wait, I've sort of like advanced past that level.
Yeah,
I don't know, it's weird. And the puzzles are just all the same. Like they're on a screen, and like I don't know, it just sort of doesn't befit like the mysticism of the world, having these puzzles that are all the same on a screen, like being on this line and this grid, looking at that while the world is actually quite beautiful. Because it's none of the puzzles seem to be particularly environment based. Like there's sort of like an overarching puzzle of you're solving these little puzzles to solve a bigger environment puzzle, but it also doesn't feel like that.
No, because the game world's segmented, isn't it, into like, this part's like a harbour, and this part's a meadow, and this part's a little village. And if the puzzle's related to those areas, it would make more sense, and it would feel sort of more rewarding to play. But they're not. They're just like Symmetry. I keep going back to it because it's the only one I've done. But Symmetry Island is just a little island. It's not, and the island itself isn't symmetrical. If that was like a little Easter egg, or not even an Easter egg, if that was just a design feature, it would make more sense within the game world. But it's not.
Yeah.
But I kind of, I don't know, I enjoy it, but I think I enjoyed watching someone else play it more. And also, one thing that really, really annoyed me, which was the turning point for me to be like, no, I'm done, was I did, like I say, the one with the trees. Then I went into the little village, couldn't work out any of that. And then I found, sort of a little bit further on from the Symmetry place, like a warehouse. No, it wasn't a warehouse, what was it? It was like a ruin. And there was some scaffolding and some stairs and whatever. And I went up to one screen, tried to do the puzzle, had no idea. It was like a hexagon shaped thing. Couldn't work out what it was. Found another screen within the same area. Thought maybe this one will be easier. Got it wrong, and the screen turned off. And I couldn't work out how to get it back on. I was like, well, now I've just buggered it, haven't I? So what's the point? And I'm not gonna. I don't know why I went wrong. I don't know how I get the screen back on to try again. And I was just like, you know what? Life's too short. Shouldn't have to.
This game is for smarter people than us.
It is, but fucking shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
Turn the screen back on.
They should just tell us what to do.
Well, I mean, most games do. And then it's like, well,
Exactly.
get better at it. But this is, I feel like you can't get better at The Witness. You either work out how to do it or you don't.
Get good.
Well, yeah, maybe. But yeah, that's what I've been playing. And that is it, actually.
But this actually reminded me that I may have forgotten to get Call of Duty 4 in the PS Plus things.
Yeah, it's gone now, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I've got it.
I think I've forgotten it. So, but
I mean, I've got the disc.
I don't even really
play
play the campaign anyway. Not interested in
One of my platinum trophies is Modern Warfare Remastered. Fantastic game. It's also my favourite game of all time.
Yeah,
well, Modern Warfare is.
Episode 1.
Check out episode 1 of Top Chat podcast, available on all good podcast streaming services and on YouTube.
Alright, what's next?
What is next? Well, do you want to do your Metacritic roundup?
Might as well.
Oh, I will say, actually, next week, I'm very much looking forward to starting Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered.
Oh, moving on.
More on that immediately.
Huh?
Well, I was going to say more on that in just a second, but you're pretty much going to talk about it right now, aren't you?
Yes.
So immediately.
Indubitably.
In what?
Indubitably.
Indubitably?
It means yes.
Does it?
Pretty much. I'm like,
nah, you've made that
I
up.
agree.
You've made that
No,
up.
I haven't.
It's time for Joe's Metacritic mashup.
Woo!
Whoop whoop. Yeehaw.
Someone like a PS2 polygon character in the corner of like a
Nice.
FIFA celebrating like woo.
Yeah. He's done
FIFA
it.
Street. That's what I'm thinking of.
FIFA
People
Street.
Like,
Oh, they should bring that back. Franchises we want rebooted. Episode
that's a good
3.
shout.
FIFA Street.
I think they did like one in like 2012.
Yeah, they did, and it had those weird like. Do you remember that
the
weird
first
period?
One was the best one.
The first one was amazing, but when this
Get down with a beat. It's all about FIFA Street. Yeah, I'm down with the grime and
half the soundtrack was Dizzy Rascal, I think. But yeah, that remade FIFA Street in like turn of the decade was. Do you remember there was the time when people were obsessed with that weird cartoon art style where people was like their calf muscles were huge, but then their thighs were tiny and their heads were huge and their shoulders were small.
It was around the time of
What the
Peter
hell?
Crouch as well because he was so big.
Peter Crouch. What's the Peter Crouch song? His feet stick out the bed. What is it?
I don't know.
I think was it when it was playing for Liverpool. It was like
I don't know. So we should move on from this.
Yeah.
So this is just going to be a pointless.
not a football podcast.
Yeah.
Not a FIFA Street pod. Well, could be.
Should
EA,
be. Should
bring
be.
it back. It was EA Big, wasn't it? I think
It
who
was.
made SSX on tour.
Yeah, I think they did all like the.
All the weird
Did
sports.
they do skate? Maybe.
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 Don't know.
Well, anyway, first game
Yep.
came out this week.
The Metacritic thing. We should-
Yoshi's Crafted World.
Whose?
Yoshi's.
Who's that?
Yoshi.
Who?
Yoshi.
I wonder how long we can keep this up. Who is that though? Seriously.
He's like the little dinosaur man. Eats the eggs, spits them out.
Oh right. Sounds like Yoshi.
Ah, yeah, it is. It's Yoshi.
Oh, Yoshi.
Yeah, Yoshi.
It's interesting that you recognise who we're talking about when I say Yoshi, but I have no idea when you say Yoshi.
That's because what it is.
The best thing about Yoshi's Crafted World is the meme that came out of it.
What meme was that?
The video, because the music in it is like this. Oh, I can't think of the jingle now. I was listening to it. I was watching a video of it earlier this morning, and it's like a weird jingle, and then it just goes like meh for no reason, and people just put it over a load of videos of people like crying and screaming.
Wow.
Maybe
not
we can
seen
watch
that.
It's quite a good meme.
Well, anyway, that got a score of 80. Pretty respectable.
80's a good score.
Nintendo keeping up with their high quality first party titles. I was interested in this until I played the demo.
Well, Metacritic says you're wrong.
Not particularly
You're
interested
wrong.
in it.
He was their friend.
Too easy. And then we've got an interesting one. So it's Assassin's Creed 3 Remaster, which on the PS4 got
Remastered.
the remaster.
My throat's made a very weird noise.
The remaster of Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered.
No, it's called Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered. You don't call The Last of Us Remaster. It's The Last of Us Remastered. It's whatever.
It is a
everything
remaster
else.
of Assassin's Creed 3.
Fuck's sake.
Well, it got 73 on PS4.
And why is that interesting?
Pretty good score. That is interesting because its original score on the PS3 was 85.
That's a point loss of 12.
It is. So that's about a 1 score on a 10 scale. There's a whole point gone.
It is, yeah.
So that's interesting because from what I've seen, you'll know more. But if anything, not only is it a remaster,
yeah,
but they've also actually added in more to the game, like crafting and.
Crafting was already in the game.
Some other stuff.
I'm pretty sure.
I think I watched a video where they've added in stuff from the later Assassin's Creed games into Assassin's Creed 3. So if anything, I thought it should be like more quality of life stuff. Apparently you can now, like, for example, one of the things is when you're sneaking around in grass, you can now like whistle over people, so you can then like stealth attack them, which was something you couldn't do before.
They brought that in I think Assassin's Creed 4. But no, I feel like no, I thought Ezio could. No, Altair could do that. That's been in there forever.
Well, I'll link you the video. All right.
I must be going mad, but I feel like that's been in there forever.
I'm not sure what this is about because I'm thinking. Well, it should be on par with the original, if anything. But then I reckon it's now being judged against modern games more than anything. So if you now, like, I think Assassin's Creed Odyssey is probably on like an 85 Metacritic.
Probably.
And then if you look at these two games now, there is probably like one is so, I don't know, opinion, but like one is so much better than the other now in terms of like it's bigger. I mean, that doesn't equate to quality, but it's like more to do, and
it's not about the size of the boat. It's about the motion in the ocean. You said a minute ago that I'd know more about this, but honestly I don't, because I've been avoiding everything about the remaster.
Just in case there's spoilers.
Well, not story spoilers, but I want to go back to it and be like, oh, this is different, and this is new, and this is blah, blah, blah. But yeah, send me the video, because to be honest, it seems I've forgotten anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Well, I mean, after 8 or 9 games, they're going to blur into one slightly. So
they haven't really. Forgotten. I feel like the Ezio games for me have kind of... I get confused between 2 and Brotherhood quite a lot. But yeah, I'm looking forward to playing it. But I think, yeah, your point about it being compared against its modern peers is probably the reason for the loss of points, because you would have thought it would have the
same game.
Yeah,
unless there's like some
graphics,
big bug in it or something. Big bug.
I doubt it. I thought crafting was already in it as well, because you hunt. Assassin's Creed 3 was the first game where you hunted animals, and I swear you had to craft arrows to do it.
Oh no, but I think it's crafting weapons.
I don't know.
Like,
I'll find out.
Do you craft weapons in Odyssey?
No.
Okay then. Oh, I don't know anything
you
about Assassin's
engrave them. You can make them better.
Maybe it's that. I'll link you the video.
Yeah, send me the video. I'll watch it, and
alright,
I'll start playing the game as well.
Okay.
Anything else
that's
on
the end?
No.
And before what's occurring, I just want to give a quick shout out, because we got no Sebi from the Webby this week, but he was in hospital for the last 3 days, so...
Is he out now?
He's going out tomorrow, because he has to have one more test on his wee little chest.
Well, hey.
Yeah, there's some lightening up. Some Dr. Zeus here.
Would you like it on your chest?
So, from Top Chat, we wish him all the best.
Hey, very good. Yeah, we actually do. Hope you're alright, Seb.
Right.
Let's move on.
Let's move on.
What's occurring? So, oh crap! What have I done? My laptop's had a spaz. Oh, that's not PC, is it? Oh, it's not a PC at all. It's a laptop. Well, hey, that's terrible. That's appalling. I'm not gonna cut. I'm not cutting any of this out. Can't be fucked.
Well,
you know what?
Can we move before we move it? I need to get some more water.
Shouldn't have to.
I do.
You know what? You literally... Well, can I just start then while you bugger off? Because this will be quite funny.
No.
Oh, forgot it. I'm going to pause it. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Oh, Matt. What's occurring?
Oh, are you starting it off?
Might as well.
We're resuming. Have you got some water?
I have.
Are you sufficiently lubricated?
I am hydrated.
Well, then in that case...
Hydration is better than masturbation.
Stay hydrated, kids. Well, what is occurring? Allow me to tell you. There's a fair bit. And you've written this, and I haven't actually read through it yet, so this might go tits up, but we'll soon find out. Borderlands 3 has finally been announced by 2K and Gearbox. with the long-awaited game set to be released in September 2019 on PS4, Xbox One, and PC, with the Epic Store selling it exclusively for the first 6 months. Players will be able to explore previously unvisited areas of the planet Pandora and will have access to over 1 billion guns to play around with, including a gun with legs. Now, Borderlands, is it 1 billion guns, or is it one gun that you can just modify and it has a billion different combos? Because that was the thing, wasn't it?
It is a billion different combos.
Yeah,
that's
like, just shit.
It's like, there's different stock, different barrel, different bullets.
It's basically whatever something to the power of something is equals a billion, and that's their excuse for saying, there's a billion different guns. It's not. It's one. It's like 1 or 2 or 3 guns, whatever, that you can.
Just like No Man's Sky.
Bit like No Man's Shite. Set on the same planet. Interesting. Have you played Borderlands? We haven't, have we? Neither of us have.
I played it once when my mate had it, and it made me feel sick. So.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the art style personally either. Alongside the news of Borderlands 3, the Game of the Year edition of the original Borderlands has been announced for release on April 3rd, which was yesterday.
But it was today.
Today was... Oh yeah, good point. Today. It's just ticked over midnight, hence me saying yesterday. And a remaster of 2009's original Borderlands for PS4, Xbox One and PC are joining the Handsome Collection, which is Borderlands 2, and the pre-sequel on the latest generation of consoles.
Yeah, and as I was writing this, so I knew... I was paying attention to the Gearbox announcement thing the other day, because I know people care about Borderlands 3. I just was kind of wanting to see if it interested me. And they announced the Borderlands Game of the Year edition, and I was like, what is that? Because I knew they had the Handsome Collection, and I just presumed that was Borderlands 1 and 2 on the PS4 already, but it wasn't. It was just number 2 and the pre-sequel.
I also thought that. I feel like that's a bit weird that the Borderlands collection is not all of the games thus far.
But I think maybe it's got something to do, because I thought the Handsome Collection, handsome meaning good looking, I thought that meant remastered, good looking.
No, it's a character.
It's a character, I think. So maybe Borderlands 2 and pre-sequel are based on Handsome Jack. I don't know.
I think it's called that's just an expression anyway, isn't it?
Anyway, it looked alright, I guess. It's interesting that it's announced and released within about 6 months. I quite like that. Although we have kind of known that it's one of those games that's never been announced, but everyone knows it's been a thing for a while. It's going to be interesting. This year we've sort of got these. The theme of this year is the Anarchy game. It seems we got this.
You reckon?
Rage 2.
Oh yeah, they're bringing back Rage, aren't they?
What was that Far Cry game? New Dawn. That was that kind of punky anarchist sort of style. And I remember actually when Borderlands first got announced, I think it was Rage 1 was released 2009 as well.
Just quickly, Rage is the game that's like Mad Max, right?
Yeah.
Kind of. Right,
yeah, so similar to sort of Borderlands.
Yeah.
And I remember liking the look of Rage a lot more when I was like looking through like OXM or something like that.
Yeah.
Game Master, I don't know.
Games Master. I had a letter featured in Games Master once.
Did you?
I had about 4 in official PlayStation magazine.
Did you?
Back when I wanted to be a journalist, I used to write in.
Oh, I want to see those. Have you got them? You're the kind of person who collects magazines.
Oh, you know what? In my family home bedroom, I have about 80 PlayStation magazines from like the PS3 days, and the ones that I am in are segregated for easy access.
Probably framed as well. So
they're not framed.
I want you to bring them up next time, and we can have a little look on.
I'll take a picture instead.
This here Top Chat podcast. Oh yeah, you don't want to get them out of their little.
No, well they're not pristine, but
I bet they are.
No, they're not. I want to get rid of them, to be honest, because it's a massive just waste of space and resources.
Yeah. I collected Krang magazines once until they went mouldy.
I collected Beano. Oh, hello. I collected the Beano for years, thinking that one day it would be worth money, but it won't be because everyone collects. A bit like Funko Pops.
But they're just not limited enough, really.
Exactly. And I've said this expression to someone else very recently, talking about the exact same thing, and they might be listening. But that'd be weird, wouldn't it? But things that are made to be collectible are generally not collectible.
Well, no.
Because everyone then collects them, and then they're not worth anything because and no one takes their Funkos out of the box because they're like, oh, one day it'll be worth money. It's like, yeah, you and every other twat that bought Deadpool Funko.
Game of Thrones ones, I think.
Oh,
I've never got interested in them.
That little
shit. I don't have... I don't really have things that, like, sit there for decorative purposes. I'm not really that kind of person.
I've got my bonsai tree.
My stuff, like, the things I buy do stuff. You know,
the only thing that I collect, and I don't know of anyone else that does this, but someone out there probably does, and you know I collect these because you've been with me to buy some, is every city I visit that has a Hard Rock Cafe, I buy some of their drumsticks. They're limited because every city has their own design.
Interesting.
And I've got about 15 in my collection. Do you know
what would be interesting? I've actually been thinking about this for our gaming podcast.
Oh yeah,
which we're currently recording.
Is that what we're meant to be talking about?
I wonder, like, I wanted to see what is the most valuable gaming product I own. Like, do I own anything rare?
That'd be interesting. I don't.
I don't think I do, but maybe there's a little...
I've got old PS1 games somewhere. One of the two of them might be worth something, but not a lot.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's a good question. Should we move on with the news?
We should move on.
Or just to summarise, I guess, the Borderlands thing, we don't really care, do we?
Yeah, no.
Atlus is this a developer? Atlus?
Yeah.
Good. Is teasing another Persona 5 related announcement with a website containing an image with the initials PS5. Oh, sorry, P5S. Probably a good thing it doesn't say PS5 because that could mean something completely different. And the date 25th April, which is not that far away. This is on top of the already announced Persona 5 The Royal, which is suspected to be kind of like a Game of the Year type edition of the original Persona 5 for PS4. Many speculate that why is it called P5S?
Persona 5. If you read on, you'll get it.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Many speculate the P5S will be a long-rumoured Nintendo Switch port of the game, with the S being a possible giveaway. Persona 5 Switch.
Yeah.
That's the Switch click.
It is.
Persona is that Japanese role-playing game, but not as in like Monster Hunter. Yeah, it's more like you're in a school, is it? It's like Life is Strange, but Japan, and also it's been going a lot longer.
But then I think like at night you hunting monsters. I don't really know. Not particularly interested in like JRPGs. I just know this is a big deal. Like the Switch port has been long rumoured, and on Vita the Persona 4 Golden Edition was like the biggest selling game on the Vita.
Was it?
So obviously it has a place on handheld, and I know the handheld fans have been waiting for this. So
will you be getting it? Are you interested in getting it? Probably not. No, I didn't think so.
No.
Your favourite man in the world, Jason Schreier from Kotaku has released his latest article. So what do you mean by that? I know literally it's his latest article, but I presume he doesn't just do like one a month or something.
No, I didn't really know how to phrase that very well.
Alright, so Jason Schreier of Kotaku, one of his more recent articles.
He's posted an article.
He has posted an article, which is, I like this, is a damning expose of the troubled development of Anthem, BioWare's game, and the problems that they had with creating or developing said game. He spoke with several developers who worked on it or were familiar with goings on at BioWare, and they reported a high-stress environment with much developer burnout, troubles developing using the Frostbite engine, and management who wouldn't listen when concerns were raised. Oh, spicy. That is some insider info right there.
I mean, I feel like you can tell from the way the game was released and the state it was in.
Wasn't it? I think we mentioned this at the time. Wasn't it scrapped last minute like Destiny was and rebooted from the ground up?
I don't know.
Kind of. Well, I know that Destiny was pretty much completely rewritten in about 6 months, which is why the story is absolute garbage, and there's a lot of like random hidden things that were sort of never explained. And I think Anthem was the same.
Anthem was, I believe, supposed to be released at the end of last year, and then BioWare wanted to push it to March, and then they even wanted to push it even further, but EA wouldn't let them. So there was obviously that thing of like releasing in the right time over releasing like a finished game.
Yeah.
So, I know that it would have been outcry from the fans if BioWare had pushed it even further.
There would have been, but it's like a weird catch-22 that we'll never get an answer to, because on one hand you want them to take their time and develop a good game, but then you don't want to give them all the time in the world, because something like The Last Guardian, for instance, which was in development for like 10 years and then released and was kind of meh. But then you do want them to kind of get on with it, because otherwise you lose interest, or the hype train loses momentum. But yeah, and we'll never know what's the right way of going about it, really, because you can't. It's one of those weird things in life that you can't boil down to science or maths, because it's just
exactly. Maybe even if they had an extra 2 years, it might not have been good.
Yeah, and we'll never know,
because obviously, like, they're going to keep adding stuff to the game, but that they wouldn't have wanted to add that to the base game, because that's their DLC plan anyway. That's their extra money, so they probably would have sat on that anyway.
Probably.
But I mean, BioWare, it's not looking good.
Developer burnout sounds, that and management who supposedly wouldn't listen, they sound, not great.
Wow, yeah, there's been a big thing about developer burnout, and like they're sort of expected to do lots of overtime.
They do so many hours, developers, it's crazy.
Exactly, like there's a big thing about it, like maybe hire more people, or if you extend like your project timeline, because
I think the way the industry it is. I think the way the industry's going is it's kind of setting itself up for failure, because again, Destiny was a similar thing where developers were supposedly working 60 plus hour weeks and no one was happy, and Bungie nearly lost half of their workforce and whatever. And it's these games as a service environments where it seems to be happening, because they are pushed to create never-ending games, which is hard to do when you're working within a time constraint. So,
and then working against like 4 other games that are never-ending games, and only one or two can capture like everyone's time. You can actually hear more about this in my Top Opinion Episode 2, which is about there's too many games.
Too many games. On the subject of these games as well, I got a message from Aaron the other day. He didn't say it outright, but basically trying to persuade me to buy The Division 2, which I'm not going to buy. And he said it's very good. He said it's the best looter shooter he's played for a while.
I've heard.
Well, why is it not on your Metacritic thing? Has it?
I did it last week, mate.
Did you?
Yes.
I can't remember. What did it get? 80 something probably?
About 80, I think.
Everything gets 80 something.
80 something. It was 8 out of 10. Pretty good.
8 out of 10. I don't even know if he's been on the podcast. I don't know if he still listens. I don't think he does, to be honest.
No, I don't think anyone does.
No, I definitely don't.
We're just shouting into the ether.
Fun though.
Yeah, it's alright, I guess.
It's alright.
We could be asleep.
You wouldn't be asleep at this time anyway.
I'm not going to sleep for like another 6 hours.
That's ridiculous. The Division 2, I'm not getting that.
But BioWare,
best of luck.
But it's not looking good for the developer of my favourite game of all time.
Yeah, that you know nothing about.
I know everything about it. I that was my first ever podcast, mate. Chill out.
Can we move on?
No. I'm trying to speak here.
Giving this a lot of airtime for realistically not a lot of anything.
Yeah, well, anyway. BioWare. Their last game before this was Mass Effect. And it didn't do well either. And the next game, they've already announced a bit of like Anthem's going to fail, but we've got Dragon Age whatever coming out, so be excited for that. But Frostbite, I think, was used in Mass Effect Andromeda as well, and that didn't go well in terms of animations. So.
I thought Frostbite was used on basically everything, to be honest.
Frostbite is the EA engine, so I think they switched over to that from Unity, maybe,
or Unreal. I don't know.
Yeah, Unreal from like the Mass Effect games. But now Frostbite, 'cause that's the DICE engine, I believe. So it's like on the Battlefield games. They use it in FIFA now as well.
Say FIFA, yeah.
It's EA's internal engine, so like everyone's got to use it, I think.
Yeah.
So that EA aren't paying royalties, because don't want to be doing that.
All right, well, yeah, go and read the article. It's on Kotaku, and Jason Schreier is pretty good
journalist
at stuff and things. In more slightly concerning news, online servers for the PS4 exclusive racing game Drive Club will be switched off at the end of March 2020, so just under a year from now. The shutdown affects not only Drive Club, but Drive Club VR, which really hasn't been out that long, and Drive Club Bikes, with much of Drive Club's experience relying on the online component of the game. Sony are going to stop selling the game, the DLC and the season passes on August 31st, 2019, which is a good move, because then if you bought the game, you know, let's say in February 2020 and there's, the servers are shutting down next week, you'd be pretty pissed. But the thing here is they're shutting down the servers already.
Well,
it's not that old of a game.
Yeah, I think it was a launch, so 2014 I think it came out.
But there's PS2 games that have still got active servers.
Well, I mean, it's all about if anyone's still playing it, isn't it? Like,
I reckon there's still a lot. But I mean, maybe Drive
Club, I didn't think it was very good at launch. Like, apparently it wasn't working. The developer doesn't even exist anymore. It's just now the server's basically in control of just some Sony.
Who is it? Or who was the developer?
Not entirely sure. I believe it was a UK-based one. I'll quickly Google that. I didn't think it was very good when I played it, and I mean, they've got Gran Turismo, which is better.
Yeah.
In every respect.
I think the crew I think Drive Club was not enough one way or the other. It was kind of like a weird mix of Gran Turismo and something like The Crew or Need for Speed. And the idea behind it was that you joined a club and then you would drive around with these people, and I think they had delusions of grandeur of being like official. I can't think of the board of like racing government, whatever they're called. Is it FIA? I think that's what they're called. The people that do like Formula 1 and touring cars and stuff. I think they had a partnership with them, or they wanted to, and then Gran Turismo were like, nah, fuck that, we're going to get a better one. And yeah, just, I don't know, didn't really pan out for Drive Club, did it?
It was just sort of that weird time when like there was this always, in all these games, I think it was the same with Watch Dogs, there was that clunky online integration that everyone seemed to be pushing. It was like, when PlayStation launched with like SharePlay, it's like, yeah, your friends online are all on your game, and like it's always online, and everyone's just like, I kind of just want to, you know, sit there in silence with my hands down my pants playing a video game. Just leave me alone.
This is the thing we do, but I got a bit of weird perspective the other day because I went back down to Southampton to see some family, and I've got two young cousins who play Xbox. They're addicted to Fortnite. I actually asked the younger one, who's very good actually at Fortnite. I said to him, "Oh, have you been playing Apex Legends now?" He went, "Yeah, I played it for about a month, but I'm back to Fortnite." And it's like, well, okay, so that's pretty much indicative of the fact that Fortnite will almost never die. But what was the point I was making? Oh yeah, he kept asking me like, "Oh, what do you play?" Because he knows that I used to play Fortnite and I don't do it anymore. And I was like, "Man, I've been playing Assassin's Creed mainly." And he was like, "Oh, that'd be well boring." And I was like, "Well, I quite like it." He said, "Who'd you play it with?" And I said, "Oh, it doesn't have an online thing." And his face was like, I just said to him that like, "Oh, you're adopted." Like, he looked at me as if I was mental. And then I kind of thought, well, I was like that for a while. Like, I constantly played Call of Duty online with friends, and now I know it's only really been the last 4 or 5 months I've been like this, but I don't want to play games with anyone.
No,
not really. I like being in a world that someone's made and just kind of.
Yeah, well, for me, yeah, I mean, I used to play online games, and now I just don't anymore. Just because, you know, it's like a movie for me. I just want to. And also, like, I do other things while I'm gaming. Like, sometimes I'll do a mission.
I don't get that.
Well, sometimes I'll do a mission and then I'll be like, go on my phone for like 5 minutes or something.
No, I can't do that.
I don't like being rushed to do things. Anyway,
that's just weird.
Drive Club was developed by Evolution, who did the World Rally Championship games and the Motorstorm games.
Oh, they made Motorstorm,
but they're closed down now.
I credit Motorstorm for getting me back into like music as a whole, to be honest, because I had Motorstorm on my PS3 and it had Slam by Pendulum. And what was it, 2005? 7? 5?
What one?
6. The first Motorstorm.
2006?
2006, yeah, because it was PS3 launch. Yeah, around that time. So I'd have been 12 or like 11 or 12 or something. And I was kind of like, I don't mind like Franz Ferdinand or Gorillaz or something like that. And then I heard Slam by Pendulum. I was like, this is the best thing I've ever heard. And it got me into that like aggy kind of hectic music.
You started your aggy teenage phase.
Yeah,
but never got out.
To Pendulum. I still listen to Pendulum. Yeah, fuck exactly. Yeah. Pendulum is sick.
All right.
That's that. Next. I feel like I had more to say, and I'm not sure what it was. It was more along the lines of, online stuff. I don't know. Unfortunate that Drive Club has ended. I think it was a nice idea that ultimately not enough people gave a shit about, I would say. Oh well. The Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield, I don't know what that is, won't be making an appearance at Bethesda's E3 press conference this year, according to Todd Howard. Who is Todd Howard, Joe?
He is the executive producer at Bethesda Game Studios.
Excellent, thanks for that. Both games were teased at last year's E3 conference, with many fans expecting more this year, especially from Starfield, which is the new sci-fi RPG from Bethesda, due or likely to be released before Elder Scrolls 6. But apparently most of the conference this year is going to be based around Fallout 76, boo, Wolfenstein Youngblood, Doom Eternal, and probably some unannounced games, maybe a Prey sequel or a new Dishonored. And also Ubisoft have announced that they will be holding a press conference. Cool. RE Ubisoft, cool. Don't really know what they're going to talk about. Watch Dogs 3, maybe?
Watch Dogs 3, yeah.
Maybe they'll announce the location for next year's Assassin's Creed, but nothing else.
Don't think so. But RE Bethesda,
yeah,
I don't really
good.
know what they're going to show this year. Like, I don't see the point of them having a conference. Unless they... Because normally, like, they announce one big game and then they spend about 20 minutes on it. Last year it seemed to be Rage 2, and they got... Who did they get out? It was... what was his name? It was like Rob Zombie or someone like that. Or really? I think it was Andrew WK, and they just started it like playing live, like a song, and it was just really awkward.
This is weird, because we went and watched most of E3 last year, and I don't remember any of this.
Well, I think it was the day before. But yeah, they normally like focus on one big game, like Fallout 4. They just like focus most of their conference on that, like Fallout 76 last year. So they have like one big game, so maybe it's going to be Dishonored. But we've already had like Wolfenstein Youngblood, Doom Eternal already announced. Like we've got trailers and gameplay and stuff. We just basically need release dates for those. So I presume we'll get those. Elder Scrolls Blades, the mobile game, that's sort of in beta now, so maybe we'll get a bit of that. But I presume it's going to be mainly focused on Dishonored or Prey. Maybe a bit of Elder Scrolls Online, but I really did think Starfield would be here this year. A bit disappointed. I think it means that these are next-gen games.
Well, yeah, it really does feel like the industry as a whole is shaping up to be like, we're not releasing anything at the moment because we're waiting for PS5 and Xbox 2 or Xbox 720, whatever it's going to be called. Wolfenstein is one of those franchises where I feel like if I played it, I would love it. I feel the same about Metro, and I just haven't played either of them.
I've always looked at Metro.
And Doom, to be honest. The Doom
I don't think
reboot.
Doom's my cup of tea. That's sort of too shooter, gore, and loud music in the background.
Yes.
Or Clarkson. But Wolfenstein,
I'm doing you.
I always
doing
like
Clarkson.
Alternative history stuff. I was kind of into Man in the High Castle for a little bit.
Oh, I couldn't get into that. I watched about 4 episodes. I was like,
I watched the first season. I was like, I like the setting. I like sort of Inglourious Bastards, a bit of alternate Nazi kind of history going on there.
Yeah.
And I remember Seb had this game, which was just the worst game ever, but it was set in like New York City, and the Nazis had taken over it. I can't quite remember what it's called. It's Xbox 360. Seb will have to write in and tell me what it was.
It was so bad. Didn't the enemies look a bit like the Killzone enemies?
Maybe.
I remember.
It was like an FPS.
Yeah.
And it was around the time like Call of Duty was out, so we were like, FPSs are really cool, and they're all like Call of Duty.
Wasn't it Xbox's answer to Killzone, pretty much?
I don't think... Maybe. But
right, I'm going to Google...
Killzone is PlayStation's answer to
What, Halo?
Yeah.
Nah, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
Right, what am I
maybe
Googling
Resistance.
here? New York video game. Nazis.
It was like Turning Point.
Fall of Man? Is it called something like that? No, that's Resistance. Fall of Liberty.
Fall of Liberty.
Right.
Turning Point, Fall of Liberty.
Let's look at this box art, because I feel like it had Hellgast looking. Oh, no. I remember this. Was it not very good?
No. But I like the idea.
Yeah. I feel like I was...
And so Wolfenstein, from what I've seen, but I've never got around to playing it. I've always, like... Bethesda seem to port everything to Switch, which is really cool. Like Doom's on Switch, Wolfenstein 2...
New Order, is it called?
Something, yeah. Is on Switch as well. But for me, those are both games which I've been like, I'd play those on PlayStation.
Yeah, I'd want a big screen.
So I've not got them. But...
Maybe one day. Who knows? It sounds somewhat good, from my opinion. I mean, Fallout 76, I don't really know.
I mean, yeah, I guess...
Should they just leave that behind?
Well, they'll be road mapping it, you know, they'll be like, and here's the content we've got for the next 2 years. But I mean, I guess, fair play, like, I wasn't a fan of them teasing Elder Scrolls 6, just because I know it was so far away, that I think that was just kind of like, Fallout 76 looks a bit shaky, let's just kind of put some really, like, nondescript teaser, and like not even give it a name, just the next number in the sequence. Same with Starfield, but I did think they would have a trailer or something, or gameplay, because it's been around, it's been copyrighted, that name, for years now. But I mean, if it's not ready, then
they probably
I'd rather
have
it ready, because I know Bethesda games are full of bugs, so you know, take your time, Bethesda.
Just to go back to Ubisoft. That is how you say it, right? It's Ubisoft. It's not Ubi.
I don't know.
I think it's Ubi. Like, I'm pretty sure I've heard someone call it Ubisoft.
I tried to pretend that I knew how to say it in the first few episodes, but
yeah, fair enough. Well, looking at their roster of games, so they've just had the Division 2 released. Before that, their biggest releases were arguably Odyssey and Far Cry 5. So maybe we're looking at a Tom Clancy reveal again.
Maybe Splinter Cell could be there.
Splinter Cell could come. That was what I was thinking.
Rainbow Six. They could even do a For Honor. I don't think there'll be a Far Cry. They've had 2 in like the last 2 years.
Well, we know there's not going to be an Assassins. Don't think there'll be a Far Cry. We might get The Crew 2.
Crew 2 is already out.
Is that already out? Oh God, I shouldn't really have a video game podcast, because I don't know anything. Maybe, it might be wishful thinking on my part, but maybe a Splinter Cell. Yeah. Or maybe they'll bring back Hawks.
Well, do you know what I watched today? That the YouTube channel that I've shouted out before, they do video game documentaries. Gamers with a V instead of an A. Their documentary that was released today was The Rise and Fall of Prince of Persia.
Well, Prince of Persia fell because Assassin's Creed took its place.
Well, basically, Assassin's Creed was a spin-off.
A Prince of Persia spin-off, yeah.
But they still had Prince of Persia up until like 2011, 2012. They still tried to do it, and they have always said that it's like something that could come back, along with another game. I think Splinter Cell was the other game that they said could come back. But I don't know, maybe Ubisoft have got something else. But you know, Ubisoft as well, they're a company that will show off Just Dance for half an hour if they have to. So
that's very true.
That's probably one of their biggest sellers behind Assassin's Creed. Anyway.
Just Dance. Would you like to do your Woody's Roundup?
Woody's Roundup.
Are you singing it in a different way to avoid confusion with?
No, it's like the end of song. It's like Woody's Roundup. Come on, and says it's time to play. And at the end, it goes like Woody's Roundup.
That was very tuneful.
Watch the film.
I have seen the film many times. I just don't remember that bit.
A little roundup quickly.
Go on. Do a roundup of your Woody.
Dreams Early Access releases April 16th. We've spoken about this.
Don't care.
PS Plus games for April are The Surge and Conan Exiles. Don't care.
I've never heard of either of these. What the fuck are these? Last month, The Witness and Call of Duty 4. Really good. What the fuck are these? What's The Surge?
I've heard of The Surge. It's kind of like a...
What?
It's like, I think it's sort of a Soulsborne-ish game.
Ugh.
Where you're a bit more... it's more in the future, and you're like kind of like tech-enhanced human. Don't know anything about Conan Exiles.
Speaking of speaking of, Conan Exiles, I think it's going to be related to Conan the Barbarian, probably, because they've done games on him before. Speaking of Soulsborne, someone has already speedrun Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, in under an hour.
Interesting.
The Soulsborne games are very popular in the speedrunning community, and Sekiro looks set to be no different.
Yeah, it is a Soulsborne. I was right.
Is it? Is it made by?
No, it's like just inspired by. And then we've got Xbox games with gold for April. The Technomancer
Never heard of it.
On Xbox One from the 1st to the 30th.
Oh, I don't read the dates. Who cares?
April. Outcast Second Contact Xbox One is the 16th of April to May 15th.
Outcast?
Yes.
Oh.
That's what it says.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is either.
Yeah.
Star Wars Battlefront 2, the original one.
Really?
Yeah, that is Xbox One,
I'm
Xbox
quite jealous
360, April 1st to April 15th, and then Ghost Recon Advanced Warfare 2, Xbox One, Xbox 360, April 16th to April 31st. That's pretty poor, so that's pretty poor
Battlefront
month.
2's.
Yeah, but
I know it's really old, but it's still a good game.
it's alright.
Outcast Second Contact, is that not Outlast? I know there's an Outlast sequel, but I don't know what it's called. I've never heard of a game called Outcast.
Well, you do know there are lots of games. And
there are, but I feel like Outcast and Outlast
always reminds
are a
me?
bit...
When
it's called Outcast. Never heard of it.
It looks like Ark Survival Evolved. It's actually got really good reviews.
Has it now?
It's got like 4s out of 5s,
Well,
9 out of 10s.
I feel like
Metacritic of 61. Never mind.
That's not a great month for either PlayStation Plus or games with gold.
No. But you know what this month,
Apart from Battlefront 2.
Outcast Second Contact reminds me of the Futurama episode where they find these little egg things on a planet and they call them poplars, and they become like the most popular snack in the galaxy. But they look up like what names aren't copyrighted by the year 3000 when it's set, and there's like 2, and it's like one of them's poplars. That's what I feel like games are going to be like. There's just so many games now, like you're just running out of names. So it's just like, let's throw a few like verbs and adjectives together and...
Well, Outcast Second Contact doesn't tell you anything about what that game is going to be, apart from maybe you play someone who's a bit weird.
Who's been outcast, yeah.
Who's been outcast from their first contact of something. Okay, well that's a good roundup. So to round off this week, we're going to delve back into our segments, because we don't do this often enough, and you've got a tasty little controversial corner to drop, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm going to drop it like it's hot.
I've got a memory card that I'm going to load up. Ooh. That was off the cuff. Who wants to go first?
Well, I'm going to curl up in the proverbial corner with my pillow of controversy and... Controversial corner.
We need to. If we're going to try and do these, we're going to need to write them down.
Yeah.
Go on then. What you got for me?
All right then. So Rockstar.
Ooh.
Rockstar. Made some of the best games ever.
Yeah.
Red Dead Redemption 2, apparently incredible game. GTA 5
is the best-selling media product of all time.
Yeah, so much money. I actually saw on the PSN store they were selling in-game currency, and there was one that was £55. I was like, Jesus Christ,
that's cheap. You can buy like FIFA packs that are like 90 quid.
Disgusting.
It's disgraceful. Yeah. What's your controversial?
GTA 4, one of your favourite games.
Yep.
GTA 5 gameplay. I'm talking about on foot here. Is shit. It's awful. Gunplay in GTA 5 is terrible for such an incredible game and an incredible world. That's why they get a pass for it, essentially. It's awful. Have you tried playing the first person mode as well?
Oh, it's terrible.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
But then the third person, like moving the gun around, like trying to play all those games online, it's so slow. I can't stand it. It's sort of like zoom in out gameplay, and I just think for like that game, which is so complete, and like their car driving is incredible, but just the gunplay and walking around, it's clunky, and you're like jumping around. I don't know. I'm
somewhat inclined to agree with you, to be honest.
But I'm not sure if that's a very controversial opinion.
Well, it is, because they're revered games.
Yeah, I mean, that's still good games, because they've got so much to them, but I just don't think, like...
the driving aspect of the game is way better.
Yeah, but it's like when you're like going through corridors, like shooting people. Like when you're in a building and you're shooting at people, and it's just really awkward gameplay.
They did make it a lot better from 4 to 5 though, because in 5 you can like snap to aim at people, and then you can flick the right stick to go from like target to target or whatever. And there's like a health bar on the aiming reticle in there, so you know.
But it was like that snap to aim though on GTA Online when I played GTA Online for a bit.
Excuse me, bloody hell!
When you were like playing competitively and people were running around, and then you were like snapping to aim, and then your aim like followed them, so like when someone snapped to aim, that was you gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, there we go. Controversial opinion. If you let me know if you agree with me on that, because I want to know if that really is a controversial opinion. So in the comments, just
I think it would be somewhat, but we'll move on, because the point of these, we're not really going to talk about the controversial opinions too much, are we? We're just kind of mic drop them. So I'm gonna plug in my memory card, and I'm gonna load up, and I'm gonna talk about
blow in the hole.
You can see
off the dust.
I've just literally pulled this one out of my arse, so I've gone on Wikipedia to refresh my memory, because I'm not really going to talk about the game too much, but I'm going to talk about the memory I have associated with playing said game. Haven't actually said it. It's Gex, specifically Gex 3, Deep Cover Gecko, which was a PlayStation 1 platformer where you played a gecko, funnily enough, who was like a ninja martial arts kind of thing. I remember
this looks so PlayStation 1.
Oh yeah, just
I've
look at
never
that box.
played this or
I mean,
heard
it's
of
developed by Crystal Dynamics. It's published by Eidos, who I'm pretty sure haven't done anything since like 2001. Basically, I don't remember too much about the game.
Wait, did you say Crystal Dynamics haven't done anything since PlayStation 1?
No, but they are very much like a...
Crystal Dynamics have done a lot.
Yeah, I didn't say... I was being hyperbolic, because they were like a PS1 like major developer, weren't they? They were one of the biggest PS1 developers. But anyway, this game was, like a puzzle platformer where you played as a gecko going through loads of like missions and areas. I don't remember anything about the story, and I don't really remember the gameplay or anything about it, other than the first level was like an ice area, and I remember that because I never finished the game, because funnily enough my memory card was always... I'm looking back on this and I'm thinking, why were me and my sister so weird and stupid about this? And I really can't think why, but we never finished Gex 3 because we would always play it so far and then not save it, and I don't really know why. I remember because eventually we took my PlayStation 1 out to my nan's house when she lived in Spain, because we had a PS2 by this point, and we took everything out there, and I think one time we did forget a memory card, and I got like right to the end of Gex 3 but couldn't save it. I know that happened once, but we never actually finished it, and I know it's because, ironically enough, given the name of the segment, we never saved it to the memory card, and I really can't think why. I'm going to have to speak to Amy about this because it's kind of bugging me now, but it's kind of ruined my segment as well. But that's just a weird thing, isn't it?
I remember not having a memory card on one of my consoles and just leaving the PlayStation on overnight or something like that.
The only time I ever left the PlayStation on overnight was when I played Gran Turismo 3, and I would do like the 24-hour races.
Oh yeah.
But I kind of don't remember
that on the old FIFAs. They used to have like options to do actual 45-minute halves. So
I remember
90-minute game.
Yeah, ridiculous.
I just looked this up, and Square Enix have said that they will allow developers to create games based on their old Eidos IPs via Square Enix Collective, and that includes Gex.
Oh, really?
So, I've never heard of these games before.
You've never heard of Gex?
I haven't, no.
There's quite a few. I think there was 3 or 4, maybe.
Yeah.
But it looks like it got somewhat decent reviews. Maybe not great, but that's kind of like a weird memory card segment, I guess. I don't remember much about the game at all, but we decided to end this week with the segment. So this was my first thought, and I don't really know why.
Yeah.
I thought this, and I thought Croc 2, which was another PlayStation 1 platformer, But if I'm going to talk about Croc 2, I want to talk about it properly because I've actually got... Like, I liked that game.
Okay.
Whereas this was... I remember at the end of Gex, there was a tank level. For no reason.
There's always a tank level.
There's always a tank level. It was the weirdest game. And it didn't have cutscenes. It had, like... I mean, you see the box art. That's a real woman. And it had these weird sequences where it was like
live action?
half animated and half live action.
Like
and those
Need
were the
for Speed
cutscenes.
games. They're so...
Oh, Need for Speed Most Wanted, yeah.
Like
Fucking
talking
great
at
game.
you, it's in first person.
Yeah.
Weird. It's always like
Yeah.
it feels like you're watching like a porn or something because it's like
porn.
one of the
porn.
the porns.
One of the many porns that I've watched in my
Oh.
time watching the porn.
I watch all the pornographs. But bit of a shorter episode this week anyway.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
that's enough now. We've talked about the porn.
Yeah, exactly.
So the job's
want to
done.
move on from the porn. It's just a slippery slope, isn't it? Slippery dick.
I was going to say, is that the title of a
Title
sex
of your
tape?
sex
Title
tape.
of your sex tape. It's a slippery slope. Well, thanks for listening. Apologies for it being a shorter episode, but not really a lot's happened this week, and also we're tired. We're both very busy at the moment, so you can all get fucked.
Yeah.
Fuck
If you
all
got it
of
this
you.
far, get fucked.
Yeah, thanks very much for listening. I hope you haven't shared it with your nan because we've just told her to get fucked, and that's not something we endorse or condone at Top Chat Towers. Cool, that's quite hard to say actually. Give that a go.
Top Chat Towers.
Yeah, it's not that hard, is it?
It's quite easy, yeah.
Title of your sex tape's not that hard, is it?
Yeah.
Thanks very much for listening. I might have a top opinion up soon, so look out for that on the YouTube channel.
Me
And
too.
we will see, both of us, we will see. What's yours about, actually? Have you said?
Yeah,
You don't have to.
It's about mediocre games and...
Oh,
Yeah.
that they have a place on your shelf.
They do.
Don't be so shellfish. That's terrible.
All
I feel like
my shelf.
I always end on a crap pun, and just silence from you. I feel like that's a regular occurrence.
Maybe.
Anyway, bye for now.
Bye for now.
No, that's not loud enough. Say it again.
Bye for now.
I was going to mention that as well. Last week, your bye for now was so quiet.
Was it? Alright. Bye for now.
Say it with your chest.
Bye for now.
Bye for now. Very good. There we go. We can end it now.
Yes.